Hello everyone, this is Alexa623 and here's another video from me. So today we are going to be reviewing Death Proof Grindhouse feature. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of background on this film. So this was originally from a double feature called Grindhouse that Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez did. It had Planet Terror and Death Proof. Planet Terror we will get to eventually. In fact, I might even do a month for it, because there are actually multiple Grindhouse features. Because, you see, there were some fake trailers on Planet Terror and on the double feature that eventually got made into real movies, which are Machete and Hobo with a Shotgun. So, I may or may not do Grindhouse month, which next month I will probably do something like Indiana Jones month, and I might be reviewing Grindhouse films during that time. But I won't make it specifically Grindhouse month. I'll just be reviewing them at the same time I'm doing Indiana Jones reviews. Alright. So let's talk about this film. So, this film is a pretty good movie. Now, with the double feature, there were actually some actors that were in both this and Planet Terror. Rose McGowan, Quentin Tarantino himself, and I forgot the other one. There was another actor who was in both films, but I just know Rose McGowan and Quentin Tarantino. Alright, so let's just move on. Alright, so plot synopsis. For Austin's hottest DJ, Jungle Julia, Dusk offers an opportunity to unwind with two of her closest friends, Shanna and Arlene. This three-fox posse sets out into the night, turning heads from Guero's to the Texas Chili Parlor. Not all of the attention is innocent. Covertly tracking their moves is stuntman Mike, a scarred, weathered rebel who leers from behind the wheel of his muscle car. As the girls settle into their beers, Mike's weapon, a white-hot juggernaut, revs just feet away. That's not the entire story, though, because there's actually more! The part with Jungle Julia is actually just the first half of the film. This is a horror film, which I believe is Quentin Tarantino's first horror film. I don't know if Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is going to be horror or not, but yeah, I don't know what it's going to be. So, anyway, let's get into the characters. And boy, do we have a lot of characters to talk about. So, let's talk. Well, first, we're going to start with stuntman Mike, played by Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell delivers a great performance in this film, just like he does with most of the films he's in. Now, he was also in The Hateful Eight, which I didn't like that one as much as I liked this, but it was a close second. So, let's talk. So, stuntman Mike basically has a death-proof car, which is a stuntman's car, which basically means that if he's in the car, he cannot die. Alright, so now let's go to first half of the film. Alright? I'm going to be dividing this into two sections. First half and second half. Alright, so. First half, we have 4 characters. Abernathy. Oh, wait, no, Abernathy isn't in the first part. Never mind. We have Arlene, Shanna, Pam, and Jungle Julia. 4 characters. So, let's talk about... Well, first we'll do Arlene, the infamous butterfly. You don't understand what that means unless you've seen the movie. So, basically, Arlene is one of Jungle Julia's friends. And Jungle Julia is the main character for the first half of this film. And so basically, Jungle Julia says on her radio that Arlene, who she calls Butterfly, will... So basically what she says is if you go up to her, buy her a drink, call her Butterfly, and recite a poem, then she has to give them a lap dance, but she will only do it once. So then later in the film, Kurt Russell does all those things, and then she's like, oh, I don't want to do it. And then he's like... Then there's a really funny scene where he talks about how people go, you're alright in my book, and then he says he actually has a book, and he's gonna file her under chicken something. Chicken sugar honey iced tea. Alright, that's what we're gonna say. I'm not gonna say the actual word, because I try to keep this family friendly, even though I was talking about lap dances. Alright, so, anyway, next, let's move on to Shanna. Shanna is a pretty good character. I don't really have much to say about her. She doesn't really have that much of a part in the story, except for just that she's one of Jungle Julia's friends. Alright, next, we have Pam, played by Rose McGowan. Oh, Shanna was played by Jordan Ladd. So Rose McGowan delivers a great performance in this film. She was in both Planet Terror and Death Proof. The funny thing is, in Planet Terror, she plays an awesome female lead with a gun, with a machine gun attached to her leg, and shoots down zombies. In this film, she's just another horror victim. So in this one, basically, her thing is she is like, hey, I need someone to drive me home. So Stuntman Mike decides to drive her home. She should not have accepted that offer, because Stuntman Mike is like talking about how his car's death-proof. But in order to get the benefit, you have to be sitting in the driver's seat. Then he starts smacking her around, and she starts bleeding, and then she's like, oh, I know it's just a joke. Then he just starts going, and then boom, slams on the brakes. Her head crashes into the thing, and she dies. So now let's talk about Jungle Julia. And with her, we're going to talk about how all the characters, all of her and her friends died. So, Jungle Julia is a radio personality, and she, of course, said the stuff that Arlene would give someone a lap dance and stuff. And she basically is kind of a jerk the entire way through. A lot of these characters are real jerks. I mean, Pam isn't that much of a jerk. She's a pretty nice character. But actually, I'm going to talk about one more character that was in the movie. Alright, so Eli Roth, he directed Cabin Fever, and he was also in this movie. Alright, so, he delivered a good performance as well. So, yeah. Might have to split this video into two parts, though. Alright. Yeah, I think I can do this in less than 12 minutes. Alright, so now we have 3 more characters to talk about. We have moved on to part 2. Alright? So, now is part 2. So, let's talk about this. Alright, so Jungle Julia was in part 1. So, let's start off with Kim, played by Tracy Thomas. She delivers a great performance in this film, but their part in the story is that Stuntman Mike goes after them and attacks them a lot. So then they're like, okay, you want to attack us? We're just going to turn this car around and smack right into you. And they end up killing Stuntman Mike in the end. So Kim, yeah, she delivers a great performance. Now let's move on to Rosario Dawson playing the character Abernathy. Abernathy is another great character. She is... I don't really know what to say. Okay, yeah, she's a great character. I liked her performance. It was a very convincing performance. Okay, next, let's move on to Lee, who was left behind in the little car chase scene. Which Abernathy is actually the person who delivers the final blow that kills Stuntman Mike. Because what happens is, like, they beat him up and then the credits start rolling. And after it says written and directed by Quentin Tarantino, it cuts back to the movie. You just see her foot slam on her on Stuntman Mike's face. Alright, so next let's move on to Lee, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead. She delivers another great performance in this film, and she wasn't in the film as much as the other characters, so I don't think I can judge her as much on this, so I'm just going to move on to Zoe Bell, who plays... Take a wild guess. Zoe Bell. She did most of her... I think she did most of her stunts for this film because she is a stunt woman, after all. She's very great at doing stunts as well, so... basically, in the car chase, she decided... So she, like, got belts, strapped them to the doors, and got on the hood of the car, was, like, hanging on to them while they were driving, because she thought it would be fun, I guess. And she is a great character. I really believed that she was herself. Yeah, but I really believed that she was in this environment. Because that's basically where she was acting, was being in the environment. So, final thoughts. So, this film, pretty good film. It is easily one of my favorite Tarantino films. But this is where Tarantino stopped doing the non-linear timelines. All of his timelines from then on were linear. I don't know if they were in, let's just call it IB. I think I'll have to get back to you on that. I'll have to remember. I'll have to go back into my memory and pull that out. Which, that will be the next video we do. I will not say the title because I'm keeping it family friendly. Well, as family friendly as I can. So I will just be referring to it as IB. And in the title and card, that movie the second word will be censor. It's Inglourious something. Okay, enough of my rambling. Alright, this is the Lexo623. Signing off.